Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. First thing, go to the armory and the premium shop in-game and get both of your free containers. Second, convert any of the certificates that you have from the New Year certificates and get containers that way as well. So grab yourself a warm drink, relax, and let's begin. And this is where I think the World of Warships servers finally caught up with me and realized that I shouldn't be receiving steel before I'm receiving a ship. So once the game came back, that container that I had opened that was frozen was actually my last ship, even though I had received 2 drops of steel prior to that. And there we go. That's all the containers. And now I want to actually sidestep and go deeper into the statistics of all the containers that I just opened. One fascinating result, which shouldn't be too surprising, was that, yeah, the container drops, they matched what mathematically I would expect to get with a large sample size of containers. It's kind of scary how similar the results that I received are to what we would expect using the probabilities. And then here's the really interesting thing that I found fascinating, was at the very beginning when I was opening my very first containers, I had a dry spell. I did not get a ship in the first 14 containers, which when doing the math for that, turns out to be just under 9% odds that that would actually happen in any given string of 14 containers. Which that also led me to the second question of, okay, well, what about the guaranteed drop mechanic? What are the odds that that actually happens and that you actually go 20 containers without ever receiving a ship, and then receiving a ship on the 21st container? And those odds of a 20 container dry spell is 3% chance. One other thing I wanted to mention too was, on my previous video, I had someone comment and ask me about calculating a confidence interval for the containers. And I loved that question so much that I actually wanted to include a portion of that here to actually show you the math behind different confidence intervals for different amounts of containers that you could buy. I'll keep the math simple and straight to the point, and for those math nerds out there, I'll leave the more detailed data down below. Most of us nerds out there will use a 95% confidence interval, but I don't want to do that. I want to up the ante and go to 99% confidence. That way we can see some of the most extreme intervals, both on the high end and the low end, for what people can expect when they get their containers. So here are 7 scenarios for 99% confidence intervals for the number of ships that you would receive, ranging from the typical 5, 10, and 20 all the way to the crazy 1,000 mega containers to see what we would expect. And here's the weird part. A special feature about this type of mathematics is it's actually a binomial distribution, which, sorry, that's a little bit too complicated, but a special feature of this distribution is that you'll notice that as the sample size gets larger and larger, that it stays extremely tight around the average. So what you can actually expect is the less amount of containers that you buy, it's going to feel more volatile in your results as opposed to if you buy a large number of containers. Now, I know this is not what a lot of you are going to want to hear, because of course the answer is spend more money. I understand that, and it definitely feels that way, but that is a side effect of the math of the containers that they have. And there's actually one thing that we need to actually correct when it comes to our ranges, and that is you can't receive a fraction of a ship. So we actually need to tweak our ranges. For instance, the 100 mega container range, you cannot receive, on the high end, 16.9 ships. You can receive 17 ships, and so that's what we're going to do. For the high range, we're going to round up to the nearest ship, and for the lowest range, we're going to round down to the nearest digit. And that's going to give us a much more concise and understandable high and low range for this confidence interval. And when you do this, you'll actually notice that if you look at the 70 mega container interval, that actually matches the exact same amount of containers that I myself pulled. And so, if you noticed, I pulled 13 ship drops out of those containers, just like that. Now, to be fair, the 13th one was pulled on my very last container, on the 70th container. So what about you? Compare your results to these confidence intervals and see how it stacks up. And for those of you who like the big containers and the gift containers, I'll also put the 99% confidence intervals for those in the description down below. And that about wraps it up, because there wasn't really a whole lot of weird things happening here. The containers matched most of the expectations from the math that I've done previously in previous videos, and so everything kind of lived up to expectations. The only weird thing that happened was the dry spell of 14 containers there at the beginning, and then also there in the middle at around the 54th container, where the server crapped out on me, and for whatever reason I was receiving steel before I received my last ship, which that was definitely strange. I wish you all the highest RNG possible, and best of luck out there, everyone. Have a good one.